Hi, my name is Thomas Hajduk, and I work with some of the largest content creators on the planet. My full-time role right now is at OTK as their Director of Marketing and Creative Branding. I've been in this space for almost 9 years, so I have a lot of experience. So I feel particularly qualified to talk about these things. And today, we're going to be talking about something very unique, and it's who I think more so should join OTK next. I think there's a big discrepancy between the two. Just because someone joins an organization, it could be for a variety of different reasons, and who I think should join is probably a lot different than who will join. Maybe utterly clear. At this point of recording, we don't know who's going to be joining OTK. You'd think that, someone in a director level position of marketing would be pretty heavily involved, but usually when it comes to who's joining and who's not joining, those discussions, are handled in between the creators. So again, this is not who is joining OTK next. I'm not spoiling, I'm not leaking anything. This is who I think personally would be a good fit for OTK. And I'm coming from a little bit more of a objective marketing brand perspective rather than just on a feeling of how well someone can get along with another person. Because most of the time, content creators collaborate together when they have a lot of synergies and stuff like that. So why should someone join a organization or a group such as Offline TV, Phase, 100 Thieves, OTK, right? These content groups on the internet. Right. Yes, some of them have esports organizations, but if you guys wanted to know a little bit, there's a difference between Phase Media and Phase Esports. They're actually two separate companies now. Offline TV is a group, and 100 Thieves has its own divisions of esports and content, and has those also separated to a degree. And it's OTK on the other hand, and Offline TV, we just have content, and that's the whole focus. So we have to look at both sides first. We're gonna have to skip kind of the more juicy kind of, ooh, I think this person, I think that person is, and jump into a little bit some of the objectives for both sides, because whenever there's a agreement or an agreement to join, there has to be benefits for both parties. So I want to talk about them because I'll touch upon those in the video, explaining my reasonings and justifications for why someone should join. So let's start by looking at what does an organization do for a content creator. A organization allows a content creator to be opened up to a whole new audience and amplify their presence in a wider audience. So for example, when you're featured in YouTube content, streaming content, gameplay content, anything like that, even social media, it allows you to become a reappearing name in that circle and to that audience. And if you guys ever watch a traditional sport or a movie series, TV show, anything, any piece of media, the more someone's name comes up, the more likelihood you'll become either a fan of them, aware of them, consume their content, all that stuff. So by joining an organization, it broadens your ability and gives that trust of that community of hey, we're trusting this person by having them join our community, right? As well as joining a brand like OTK, you get a lot of branding and production amplifications and capabilities. They vastly increase because suddenly you don't have just an editor, maybe a manager, something like that. You have a whole studio team of sales people, marketing people, video people, production people, all that stuff to hit basically anything that you're looking for and really amplify your capabilities beyond just you as an individual and maybe a team of 1 or 2 people can do, because it's really tricky to hire people, find good people that understand the space and how the content creator space works. So third of all, there's an opportunity just for broader brand deals, more opportunities for sponsorships, and you can do packaged group sponsorships, such as for example OTK game nights and general bundle deals that just can increase the amount of money coming in for a creator, as well as just larger big brand deals, for example from Mad Mushroom, Star Forward Systems, etc. Just to list some stuff. For example, if you're a 100 Thieves content creator, you gain access to, for example, Heineken, Oakley, all these other different brands which benefit you. So if you want to increase your hey, I've been represented by these brands, then that makes you way more palatable. It amps up your resume. And like I mentioned, creating opportunities with just more people that are highly skilled, it just creates so many more opportunities to produce shows, produce podcasts, produce media, overall transform yourself, do things that you want to do that you normally couldn't do on your own. So what are some objectives for content creators? Because this always has to be mutually beneficial to some degree. OTK and other organizations always look at, can OTK help this content creator grow to a bigger star? Can we turn up that dial and help them get boosted up. Because if a content creator grows and an audience grows with the association of the two, the bond between the organization and the content creator becomes much stronger, and their audience's eyes of like they're succeeding together. This is very common in esports teams such as like Cloud9 and Shroud, Optic Gaming and Scump, obviously 100 Thieves and Nade Shop, but you can think about Courage and Valkyrie as great examples too. And on the offline TV, you can look at Quarter J, even Broden, growing them into bigger stars. So another big objective for brands like OTK is, can a organization grow with the creator, right? Are we opening ourselves up to a new audience, right? One of the coolest things ever that I've seen is this thing called Twitch Atlas, and you can kind of see how all the communities are intertwined to some degree. So you can see Code Carnage right here, you can see Asmongold right here, you can see Soda Poppin' right here, Trainwreck, NMP. You can see the deviations between all of these audiences and how they overlap. This is one of the coolest things. So like, for example, you can see all the FPS people right here, Valorant people here, but then Valorant is like all the way over here for Kaide. Then you see like Aiden Ross's community, etc. Ludwig right here. So the goal is you can broaden and expand your reach beyond your traditional audience. And then does the creator help grow the brands associated with the company, right? Partners, sponsors, etc. What we're trying to do, what are we trying to accomplish, what kind of content we're trying to produce, does that creator fit into that puzzle piece? And then obviously they have to synergize with the other creators. You can't bring in a creator that kind of is standalone and doesn't fit in, because it just creates a lot of weird dynamics. They feel isolated, it just doesn't work. It kind of is like if you ever had a group project in like middle school or high school and you kind of had someone random tossed into your group because just the teams were uneven or the group split was uneven, and you're kind of just like, all right, well, you're here, you know, it's like a little standoff. It's just kind of like that same kind of environment. And then do they open up a new audience for OTK, whether it's age, niche, geography? Usually those are kind of the different spectrums of the different avenues that we look at of how does someone open up something. So for example, VTubers, FPS players, fitness and lifestyle. So you have to kind of think about that and what a creator does for you. Okay, now that we've skipped all the more boring stuff, we're gonna jump into a little bit more boring stuff. Is you have to kind of think about what kind of content creator roles are there. And I, over the years, have seen a lot of different ways people have explained this, and this is kind of how I've digested and approached things and looked at content creation for both marketing, content, and just brand building overall. Is you have your creators that I like to call your anchor content creators. They are the main draw, and they build a support system around them of people that enhance the content. So for example, Miskiff is a great example of this. Hasana Abi is also a good example of this. Ludwig. Then there's the co-star creators. It's like you have a cast of 4 to 5 characters that basically rotate. Try Guys is another great example of like co-star creators that basically work together to create content regularly, and their joint efforts together have them rise up essentially. Then there's content creators, what I call regulars. We're going to use Miz as an example. Russell, Lakari, Bonnie, Rafflegator. These are creators that maybe aren't the same size as the anchor creator, but they are frequently jumping into the show. And then there's support creators. These are sometimes slightly bigger creators than regulars, but they enhance and pair well with other creators to enhance the content. So for example, Seer, Will Nev, great examples of support creators where you inject them into a stream and suddenly the content becomes dialed up. Finally, there's host creators. They do a great job driving content forward, progressing through objectives, content to a degree. Mr. Beast is a host content creator because he's driving the narrative and driving forward all of that. And then there's visionary creators. They sometimes overlap with host content creators. These creators help drive concepts, vision, and often play a lesser role or like a backseat, and are heavily involved in the pre-production, imagery, creativity, and they fluctuate a little bit between a host and a visionary. So a great example of this would be Jerma for off-brand and Ovly for the most recent OTK Games Expo, right? They're behind the scenes, they're moving stuff, they're in the meetings, stuff like that, but they're still a creator and they still fulfill a purpose. Then there's quarterback content creators. These are the content creators that spearhead the content and often have the largest audience. They dictate the pace of the content, direction, tone, voice, and stuff like that. They're not necessarily a visionary content creator because those are often kind of more so like producer-like-ish. These are the people that are like the main star. Ludwig, Hassan, XQC, Asmongold, right? These are the main drawers. So now that we've talked about all these different roles and how people can split up, and there are different more archetypes. I've talked about roles for marketing. There's also like new roles for just traditional social media personalities such as mirror for content creators and window content creators, but that is for another time. If you are interested in learning what are the different kinds of roles in marketing for a content creator, you can check out my video, which is up here, and I've linked it in the description below. Pretty cool video where I break down some of those roles. So now let's jump into what you guys all came here for. I'm going to be extremely clear. I do not know who is going to be joining OTK later this year or early next year. This is who I think would be a good fit for OTK from my perspective at the company. Let me just be clear. So the first content creator that I think would be a fantastic person to join is Nora Explorer. She's a great supportive creator with a lot of potential over the next 2 to 3 years. She's started her early streaming career living in Denmark. She's played soccer at high level. She got her foot started in GTA RP and has a really solid personality when it comes to both gameplay and recently IRL content with NMP as fan, and she can really dish out roasts while also playing along with jokes, skits, and stuff like that. Also, Nora helps us unlock a larger EU audience, and it synergizes with our talent as well, because both Nick, who streams earlier in the day, and Soda also have significantly sized EU audiences. So does Asmund to a degree. So incorporating someone like Nora can really help a lot of the more gameplay online content. Yes, there is some challenges with her being in Europe, but a lot of times whenever there are stuff, maybe we're trying to do stuff in Europe or try to drive traffic around Europe, leveraging that with Nora could be very beneficial. And then a lot of gameplay, a lot of things that can be done online that are super easy can be done as well. So I think Nora brings a lot to the table. There's a lot of growth potential. When we look at someone's growth, it's really important to do so. In the past, I've referenced this kind of like 5 to 7 year chart of viewership of how viewers come in and out in a creator's relativity, specifically on Twitch, but this also applies to a degree on YouTube. And when you look at Nora's chart, it's still on the incline. She's growing. Nora is growing a lot still, and she has a lot of room to grow. So if you look at her viewership, it's like slowly improving. Now, the downside is whenever you become heavily dependent on a game such as GTA RP and stuff like that, it can affect your viewers. But overall, I think Nora checks a lot of those boxes where she unlocks a new region, she synergizes really well with the content creators, she can be great in person and online, a rising content creator with a lot of potential. So my recommendation of who I want to join OTK next would actually be a duo. I think there's always strength in bringing in people that work together. So the next two content creators that I would want to bring together is Noko and Nicewig. Obviously, Noko's a free agent. Nicewig is with 100 Thieves. He's very loyal to them and stuff like that. But they're both very charismatic. They're both very positive. They get along very well. They are talented at FPSs, so they can also game, but also do really well in the camera and around situations, and they can slot themselves into a lot of pieces of content, do really well, such as like OTK Game Day, Schooled, and really bring a new perspective into the OTK audience that has kind of been lacking that FPS genre. So the goal would be unlock a new segment of Twitch. You unlock a new audience where these creators can do well IRL and in over game, and you're reaching this FPS kind of more fast-paced audience that can be introduced to the OTK audience that not necessarily is usually present. And then these creators can reach into collaborations with like It's Timmy, Imperial Hal, Shroud, and all these other content creators. Also, Nicewig is ranked in the top 102 top streamers. She's still growing. Both of them great personalities, really brand friendly. And can we help these creators grow? And I think so, by either amplifying their streams, creating custom content that fits a specific niche, and just helping them in general grow as creators. All right, so the next person that I think should join OTK is Cinna. She's a growing content creator in the awesome space. She's frequently collaborated with both Mizkif, Extra Emily, and other people in the space, such as Nick, and she's been even growing more rapidly within the last month and a half. She's been growing with the AMP guys, and what she brings to the table is a very unique presence. A unique presence and humor where she doesn't take herself too seriously, and being one of the featured women in the group and in a lot of these streams, she stands out and she can definitely hang with the boys, which gives her a lot of edge, personality, and she stands out and easily a very good co-star content creator, but is also a rising star with her own potential of her own individual streams. So she's really found her stride on Twitch with regular content. She'll find herself in a really great spot where she can rise to virality very quickly and prominence because she's taking a bunch of different audiences and kind of conjoining them and building herself up. She'll just continue to climb the collaboration collaboration ladder. She's actually a great example of someone that's collaborating to climb their way to success. And she's also been working very hard. So I think she has a lot of potential. She checks a lot of the boxes where she's reaching a younger audience. She's new, and one thing that people over time will notice, this applies to YouTube, this applies to Twitch, this applies to any media platform, is over time people rise and fall, and those audiences need to go somewhere, and new audiences need to latch onto new content creators. And that is just the evolution of media from the beginning of YouTube, right? So she fits a lot of these check boxes, and I think she can really fit in nicely with almost any of the OTK content creators very well, but also hold it her own, which I think is really important as a creator, is to be able to stand your ground and have your own ideas and stuff like that. So, hey, I don't have a sponsor for today's video. If you've learned something new, make sure to hit the like button and comment who you think should join OTK next. And if you're overall interested in consuming more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Really helps me out, and it's the best thing you can do to support a creator like myself. Followed by that, the next content creator that I would like to join OTK is Doug. As we mentioned before, he's a visionary creator. While he streams a little bit more infrequently compared to other streamers, he's incredibly talented at generating ideas to create unique streams. That's one of my favorite things about him, is he's an endless bucket of ideas of like, hey, how can I make this Twitch stream interesting? Instead of trying to think about, oh, what should I play? What should I watch? What should I do for stream? He's like, how do I break Twitch to the next level? And he's got an endless amount of ideas, and I think he would be a great example of someone that, when given the resources at OTK and capabilities, can leverage them extremely well to produce these kind of pieces of content and streams to go even bigger and beyond. He's most famously known for the Doug Food Challenge, which I thought was really innovative. And he's the kind of the same reason Jay joined OTK. He can utilize that OTK production to really elevate those ideas and big plans. So as well as that, he's just an insanely growing content creator overall. For any content creator to grow, you need to build a team around you of experts and people that understand the space. And I think Doug is a content creator that can easily go to 10 plus 15 million plus subscribers, but he needs to build a coherent team with that around him. And I think that's where he can really leverage OTK's both the audience but also the creators as like guest stars to help enhance the videos. Next, another content creator that I believe should join OTK is Fanfan. She synergizes insanely well with Extra Emily and Emeru, and in my opinion would create an amazing Gen Z / Twitch podcast similar to Whine About It or Call Her Daddy, a little bit more edgy, that kind of girly girl podcast that a lot of people seem to really enjoy. Some people could consider her a brand risk overall, but she's very good at balancing all different kinds of humor, whether it's verbal, physical, situational, and she'd be a natural fit in the organization in a variety level of contents. I think from what we saw from Wild West, she's a great fit for it. Now, where can she grow? I think that's where it's really kind of interesting, where creators can go through ups and downs. She recently saw a decline overall, but that's over the last year. And as marketers and brand people, you need to kind of think about is like stocks or anything of interest or popularity. People will hit a peak, then things will go down, and then sometimes they'll either go back up or back down. So our job is to pick people or you want to sign people when they're at a low point and help them bring them back up, and hopefully that works. So creators go through ups and downs in terms of viewership and hours watched. Fanfan obviously saw a decline overall, but throughout the year it's up, and I think that's really important. And she's still recognizable in the space, etc. And it's really, as marketers and brand people, it's really essential for us to realize these opportunities to ink like long-term deals to get the most value from a creator as their popularity rebounds. My number one project with Fanfan would be to build a Call Her Daddy like podcast, really push it through, help build that brand up, and really help amplify that kind of style content. And I think it could do wonders for all the individuals on the podcast in terms of their YouTube viewership and help them break into a new niche. Again, we're talking about, why does Fanfan work? She's a good co-star content creator at the end of the day. She'll co-star really well in almost any situation and in a lot of the variety of different pieces of content. Adds more variability to break apart content, so you're not forcing the same content creators to do the same stuff over and over and over again, which is another big thing why organizations benefit from bringing in multiple people or having multiple content creators rather than a smaller regime. Another content creator that I think would be a really good pickup, and this might surprise some people because many people have taken a look at Myth's viewership on YouTube and live and see that he's like extremely fallen off after the Fortnite Golden Years. But I respect his hustle and persistence to continue to make videos. Now, he's probably very well off given his Fortnite days and his contracts and stuff like that, but most creators at that point would have been like, hey, I'm loaded, I've made my money, I've fallen off, I'm just gonna live my life lavishly, and just kind of like sail off into the sunset like some creators have. And there's nothing wrong with that. But Myth is but Myth has not given up yet. And I respect that a lot. He's, tried a bunch of different avenues, whether it's kind of like talking about himself, doing different gameplays. And I see the potential of Myths as a content creator outside of being good at Fortnite as an entertainer, and just someone who loves being in front of the camera. I think him joining OTK as a regular would just reintroduce him to a new audience. You got to remember that Fortnite audience has aged, and maybe they will come back and watch Myth for a different reason. You sometimes see that with like teen actors and their evolution, sometimes with musicians as well. What they become known for initially, their audience will grow, be reintroduced, and find that passion for that individual again. And I think Myth's upbeat personality, positive attitude, ability to riff with like any almost content creator will just make him a great fit for the organization. Like, check out his appearance at Wheel of Chaos, during Wheel of Chaos. I think he did so well, and I think adding another individual that synergizes well with a bunch of the creators is just so important and will do so well. The next person that I would love to talk a little bit about who I think could join OTK is Mars Not 12. Now, Mars is an interesting creator because she's gotten a jump start unlike some other creators because she was discovered by Miz as an Emmy lookalike. Mars became like a really big hit in Miz's community. I will say most people have their like 5 minutes of fame or whatever you want to call it, but Mars has been averaging actually really solid viewership, averaging around 600 views a stream, maintaining really good social media engagement, and really embodying like Gen Z Zoomer online humor, which I can't really relate to, but hey, it works. Now, I think Mars is actually someone that would not join the organization at her current state of being a creator. However, she really synergizes well with Miz and can create a lot of great other moments, but she does overlap a little bit too much with what opportunities, like for example, someone like Emery or Extra Emily do. So I'd be very curious to see how someone like her could join. However, she does bring this very young new audience, so it could be an opportunity of like, hey, we're gonna bring you in and kind of like try to build you up, provide you with more opportunities to do cooler content, to expand that audience, or just bring more infrastructure to the content that you're trying to produce, wanting to produce, and help you monetize that much better, which is not a bad thing. It's a win-win for both parties. And again, when we can bring more creators in to help spread out content responsibilities, the better it is in the long term, because everyone wins in terms of exposure. And whenever a creator grows with an organization, that audience perceives that organization positively as enabling that person, and so does the creator itself. So now we're going to do a chunk group, a 3-part group of creators that I think could join OTK, but we're going to talk a little bit about them too as well, of why maybe they won't or why they will. So we're going to talk about Vebe, Fillion, and Lord Aethel. Lord Aethel was mentioned by Tectone in one episode as someone he thinks that he wants to join OTK. Fillion has been associated with like Miz and a bunch of other creators in the space. She's also repped by Mythic Talent, which is owned by Asmongold. And Vebe is Soda Poppin's current significant other. Now, VTubers are very difficult for many reasons because they want to keep their face hidden, because it kind of breaks the immersion for a lot of content for audiences if the audience sees the creator's face, making it very challenging for any of these individuals to do IRL content, which is a big part of OTK. However, the flip side is we've done streams, pieces of content where, for example, Shy Lily came onto the Steak and X podcast. Vebe's consistently featured in OTK content online. And then Lord Aethel, he kind of broke the persona and he's like, hey, I'm going to just show my face and continue just kind of focusing on myself rather than being a VTuber. So he's in a little bit of a different deviation. So I think all three of them have really strong possibilities of potentially joining OTK and being a good fit. Specifically, for example, Fillion, she loves to do her own shows. It seems like she's very ambitious and wants to continue pushing that barrier. We talked about how OTK can amplify that, and the VTuber audience is insane, massive. You go to an anime expo or any of these other like anime slash conventions, the VTubing audience is huge. It's massive. They're very interesting and different from the traditional Twitch watching audience, but also the audience on like YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. So bringing in a set of 3 VTubers would really shake things up and really kind of attach this whole new chunk slash audience, as well as one thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the episode, and I will make a separate little blip about it. So essentially, this is kind of what I was talking about, where you're able to bring in new creators by adding in other creators to the dynamic, right? So if creator B recently joined, the ability to bring in a content creator like C that maybe doesn't have like a direct connection to A is much easier. Hence, it's important whenever you're thinking about organizations is, can a creator expand your pool of creators to choose from or to bring into content? Yes. And I think that's really powerful that people sleep on a little bit. Strategically, it's a little hard to pull off because you can't be like, hey, can you invite that person? It has to kind of be natural and synergistic, but that's something that is always a plus that sits in the back of people's heads of anything that you're doing. That's the reality of relationships or anything like that. You think, look at music, acting, business. This is how it is, you know? So bringing in this VTuber audience will bring in an even larger new audience and participation. Lord Aethel is going more physical, so he could be a good fit to kind of help be that bridge. Obviously, Philly and Vebe are very protective over their identity, so it's very unlikely, but they can do the, you know, the mask, sunglasses, cap combo to be kind of like incognito. Though I always caution content creator brands is whenever there's relationships involved is to try to stay away from them as much as possible, because it can just create a very unsettly, unfun dynamic. We've all heard about those like show romances, you know, that happen between co-stars that, you know, don't pan out, and it just can create really awkward movie situations afterwards where, yeah, fun drama, but not fun for the people behind the scenes, because it causes like a lot of like alienating, disliking of wanting to do things together, and then forever, you know, people will not want to collaborate on stuff. But all of them are fantastic creators that kind of fit that OTK humor style, and they can participate in events, both shows, and again, they bring in a whole new audience that is unlike anything before. I'd probably, if I were to bring in these three people, I'd also bring in an up-and-coming VTuber, someone that can create that new kind of buzz and has a lot more potential for accelerated growth. The next content creator that I think would be a good fit for OTK is Zaru. OTK's roots are in WoW, and there's a degree that I think the brand should always stick with WoW until the game becomes dust. Zaru is a fantastic example of a creator whose roots are in WoW that can gel really well with the OTK content creators, is a dynamic personality that can work as a host, podcaster, all that stuff in between. He can work really well IRL, overall online. And Zaru is very fit and lives a very healthy lifestyle. Obviously, he has a family. The Austin area is also a really good place to raise a family, kind of a little bit biased. So anyways, he can fit really well with content streams that, for example, at like Ironforge, Liftathon, and a lot of the inside joke between a lot of people here at OTK is that basically Asmongold is Zaru's evil twin. Like they're complete polar opposites, but I think Zaru would fit really well. He's easy to work with, great brand ambassador, and he kind of pays homage back to those traditional OTK roots and that WoW audience, and we'd never want to let go of that, the people that initially gave us our platform, right? These just are core big kind of like root. All right, now we've talked a lot about a bunch of existing content creators that are on Twitch, maybe have a little bit of a larger of a YouTube presence. The next creator that I wanted to talk about is someone that does not have a big Twitch audience, but has a growing TikTok audience, and that is Sakura. So if you don't know who Sakura is, she's actually Kaide's sister. She has a very unique sense of humor and ability and presence on stream that is something I haven't seen in a while, and her ability to connect with both the Valorant community and this younger audience, she has the ability to basically bring in that degree or that side of the Twitch / gaming community that like Kaide, Tens, to a degree offline TV are in, and she just works. One aspect that really fascinates me is she can really hit these like girly pop trends on TikTok and Instagram Reels, so that has a lot of potential for her to grow into an absolute megastar and really go viral. And where I think she can fit in is just those natural humor points on stream, on camera. Put her in like something like Schooled, and I think she would be a great supportive cast member. Give her a unique show around anything, and she can do really great wonders. So exposure to a new audience, and then give her that credit, like brand opportunity to, you know, bring in better sponsors, create better environments, help her learn and grow from the OTK production side, I think is like insane. So again, where it benefits OTK, new audience, rising content creator, and overall has the ability to be exposed to such a wider audience, be like and funny. Now, the thing that I forgot to mention in all of these things is no matter what, when you amass a massive audience that has a variety of different backgrounds, humor, all that stuff, truthfully, it's hard to keep everyone happy because everyone has different opinions. Asmongold's audience is a lot different than Emeru's. Tectone's audience is a lot different than Seer's, and that goes for everyone. So you're gonna have bits and pieces of creators that are gonna kind of like bump heads and stuff, but again, Sakura gives us the ability to again bring in creators like Kaide and Tens more into content, becomes easier, and I think she's just looking to find her stride as a content creator, and I think she has a lot of upside potential creating both YouTube videos and traditional videos. So again, as an upswing creator with a lot of potential, as an organization, we want someone like her on the organization because that makes OTK look bigger, more popular, more relevant, and it benefits everyone participating. So with that, my final thing that I would like to talk about / mention is 2025. If I was fully in control and Tips was like, hey man, you get all the budget in the world, you can do whatever you want, this is what I would do. And I would shamelessly copy what 100 Thieves and FaZe did earlier this year to spice things up and announce a new set of members rather than just one. Or stagnating announcements over a period of time. I think a lot of groups such as 100 Thieves and FaZe have been like, hey, we need to kind of like expand to what we think is popular / works for our brand and do like a chunk release. So you can see the picture right here of 100 Thieves and their creators, FaZe and their 4 creators that they brought in. So the 5 people that I would like to see joining OTK in just like a one big announcement that would create a lot of buzz, hype, and stuff like that would be Sakura, Fanfan, Myth, Zaru, and Cinna. This way, we would build a small LA kind of hub / group / team compiling of Sakura, Fanfan, and Myth that could collaborate with Will Neff, utilize the We Play studio from like more micro events. Whenever the group would travel, they could do multiple days doing multiple things. Also create a little bit of that LA versus Austin group rivalry for content, whether it's games, whether it's for IRL stuff. All that fun stuff can be really interesting, and I think that creates a very unique dynamic, both introducing a more senior content creator such as Myth and Will Neff, and then introducing newer content creators such as Sakura and Fanfan's audience to create some really unique perspectives. There's no big heavy hitter on that, but I think that's okay to a degree, because then that allows the opening of a door for someone like maybe Tens, someone like Hasana B, or any other big LA personality that's out there to participate in those events, or like for example the Austin show as well, and to help create some really unique pieces of content from there. And whenever the Austin group go to LA, they can do content vice versa, creating like a really fun kind of pocket group for content. And LA is just a content sphere, so why not lean into it? And then Zaru and Cinna play 2 unique roles. While, like I mentioned, is an important part of OTK's roots, he brings in that classer gamer feel, and maybe we can push him to do explore more IRL content and shows, but still at the root, gaming is important. And then Cinna, she's based in Austin, insanely rapidly growing as a creator with a huge upside potential to become another creator the size of Valkyrie, Pokimane, Boozley, right? That's like kind of like the ceiling where these people can hit, if not even higher. So leveraging her growth and her flexibility and ability to collaborate with our creators on stream just feels endless. So that's my list of people that I would like to see join OTK in 2025. Again, I don't know who's joining at this time. I wish I did. Be kind of cool, but then I wouldn't probably have included them in the video. And yeah, you know, I have no say, and this is just all me theory crafting from a perspective as a marketer and someone that's in the space for a long time. So yeah.